All right, cool. Thanks everyone for joining today's Match Day Minus 2 media availability with Nashville C head coach BJ Callaghan ahead of the team's match Saturday in Chicago. Coach, team's returning to play after a couple weeks after finishing an unbeaten 9-match May, also on a 10-match unbeaten streak. If you could just start talking a little bit about what it's been like getting the team back into training this week, and then also, of course, what you expect to see from Chicago on Saturday.
Yeah, I think we had a nice little pause. Kind of came right at the halfway point. Gave us a good opportunity to sort of reflect on that first half of the season. Give us some ideas on areas that we need to refine a little bit. And now really kind of starting as a blank canvas for the second half of the season. That's our mindset, is to kind of be very open-minded and take some of the things that we've learned that make us a difficult team to play against and continue to elevate those areas. And certainly areas that we need to improve, we want to elevate those areas as well. And that's kind of what the week now has been focused on, is getting those phases and areas dialed in with some more detail, and preparing for a Chicago team that is in really good form.
Thanks, Coach. We'll start with the rumor questions. With Ben, go ahead and ask two.
You kind of just mentioned the first half and looking into the second. I'm just curious, kind of as you assess the first 17 games in the Open Cup, what are you most happy with, and what are maybe an area or two that you really want to kind of tune in on the second half?
Yeah, I mean, we came into the season talking about a blank canvas and writing chapter 6 for us, and not really coming in with any sort of expectations or assumptions, right? Just kind of listening to what the team was going to tell us and how we should go about it. And so I think we're really, I think as we took a pause and reflected on it, there's a lot of good that came from this season so far, and a lot of positives that we can build on. I think, when we talk about being a difficult team to play against, I think that's true. I think it's, defending our penalty box. I think we do a good job at it. Some days you always think you can do better, but, overall, we do good. And we talk about being a team that came in and wanted to score 50 goals this season. And that was, something that we don't shy away from, and we started the year talking about that. And I think we're, happy that we're creating enough goal-scoring chances to keep us on that trajectory. So overall, when you look at that, a lot of positives to build on. I think there's been a lot of growing and learning moments for the group as well. And we're going to take all of those sort of, I would say, moments and takeaways and try to apply them here to again, we're talking about a fresh start and a clear mind to go ahead and attack the next 17 games.
And then just two guys I wanted to get an update on. It looked like Julian was out on the field. Is he close to being back? And then I know when we had talked, I think in preseason, about Tyler and kind of his timeline. Are you expecting him kind of to start getting back soon?
Yeah, so Julian is back in full team training. These were his first two or 3 days back. And so, trending in a really positive direction. Will not be available for selection this week. We're hoping, now that we have another break after this game strategically, that, if everything continues to go well in training through the end of June, I think is hopefully a timeline for us. Tyler's still on track, but it'll be still trending more towards, I would say, the middle to late of the summer.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess how do you navigate the month of June with players coming? Walker Jake currently still under national duty, will be for the Gold Cup, and just players coming in and out of the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the players that are here are the players that we're focused on, and continuing to try to get the group better, the team better, and for us, we're glad that we've got the depth that we can do that. And then it's a normal thing that happens in the environment, players moving in and out. So we're happy to welcome back the 3 guys that were on international duty that are not participating in the Gold Cup, and they come and reintegrate right away today. So for us, it's we have a very clear way we want to play, the way we want to train, the way we want to teach, and that structure allows guys to kind of move in and move out and not miss a beat.
And with the Fire coming up on Saturday, you obviously won 7-2 when you played them here at Geodis a month ago. What are you expecting this time around?
I mean, I would say we're not going in with any expectations, right? Like, it's a team that 2 months ago we're a different team, they're a different team, and so we don't put a lot of stock in kind of what happened there. Of course, we have our process to analyze the match and areas that we can improve, but we don't think that gives us any head start going into this match, the last result. For us, it's about turning the page every single day, and sticking to the way that we prepare for every opponent. We've got great respect for Chicago, and we know that they're in really good form, so the expectation is going to be a competitive match.
No?
Yeah, if we see the statistics or the numbers, Nashville is in a good position. It's better than Chicago. Are you worried about, because the team, you talk about the pause, but are you worried about the pause that you have, the team has, probably the position and the way that are you playing in the field?
No, I think for us, we talk about we come to work every day and turn every page. We're a humble and hungry group that we're not concerned about the table standings before we've even started the second half of the season. We don't think it's indicative of much of anything at this point, and we're focused on, again, taking some of the reflections that we had in the first half of the year, spending the last 6 or 7 days training to start the refinement, and we're gonna continue to do that all the way through June and July, and that's part of how we operate. So the preparation for us to continue to grow is the same, and obviously with a focus on Chicago and how we can go there and get 3 points.
Thank you.
Valère on Zoom.
Hi, BJ. Would you say it's as hard or harder to manage a team where there's one game in 3 weeks, or versus having a game every 3 days? How do you compare those two?
I would prefer the middle of the two choices, which is that we just play every week. I think I don't think it's for us. It's about what are our objectives going to be in those periods of time. And so when you're playing in a congested schedule, there's a lot of off-field preparation that goes into it, and a lot of recovery and making sure that the players are as healthy and safe and as possible so they can put in good performances. When you get into week to week, Saturday to Saturday, there becomes a really nice rhythm to how you prepare, how you train, and how you recover. When you have these longer breaks, there's also great opportunity. We can push the intensity in training sessions because you don't have to worry about a game coming up. You can focus on some real details, and you can really focus on yourself. And so I would say when we have some of these longer periods, that's one of our objectives, is that we want to use that time to elevate the things that we're already doing well, and get better at doing them. Not adding more and not adding new, just getting better at what we already do. And it gives you that opportunity to focus on that when you kind of have a less congested schedule.
And then with the USMNT, we're in town obviously this past week, and did you have any conversations with Mauricio Pochettino or anybody within the staff, or were there any information sharing, I guess, between the club and the national team?
No, I certainly had conversations with Mauricio, just more in a welcoming him to Nashville, welcoming him to the training center, introducing myself, exchanging types of pleasantries, but nothing any further in depth than that.
All right, thanks, Coach. Thanks, guys. We're right back with Jason.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, guys.
Thanks.